I think we should be live. On YouTube, anyway. Maybe? Oh, looks like it. On YouTube, anyway. Maybe? Okay. Welcome. Those of you on YouTube, we're going to start on reality now. We're just going to dive right in today. Up. There we go. We're going to turn on the lights. Here we go. Aha! I still haven't fixed my hair since Callie was playing with it, but it's close enough. It's supposed to have a bit of a blue tint to it, but it's okay. Oh. Let me leave a note here. Later. Alright, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. Be nice though, please. Be nice. Alright. Welcome! Hi! Nobody here with us yet on reality, but that's okay. Honestly, I don't expect anyone to join. And, as I adjust my microphone. That's the right way to be. Trust me when I tell you that. If you go into a stream expecting someone to join, you will be disappointed. Even if they said they'd be there. Trust me, most people are not as reliable as they paint themselves to be, and that's okay. Really, it's fine. I'm just glad that you all would even consider joining us, right? But I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for myself, in fact. Little secret. One of the tricks to becoming more comfortable with your own voice is practicing your own voice every day. So here we are doing it. I'm not sure if the sound balance with the music is okay. I do ask you, those of you particularly on YouTube, let me know in the comments, because the chat is not enabled, so... But you can leave comments once the live stream is over. Or, you know, just join me right now in reality and tell me live how the sound balance is. I think it should be about the same as it was last time. But I want to make sure it's a good experience for you. Anyway, let's dive right in, like I said. Once again, hello, I'm Violet of Saigai Vi. Today we are continuing to read Small Gods, a very interesting story set in the world of the Disc. That is to say, Discworld, a wonderful, fantastical place shared with us here on Earth by the very delightful mind of the late and great Terry Pratchett. A necessary disclaimer, I'm not advocating for anybody in doing this. I'm just sharing an interesting story, so don't read too much into it, okay? Anyway, where did we leave things, do you remember? We were talking about tortoises, we were talking about eagles, we were talking about the desert nation just off the Klatchian coast with a K of Omnia, What's Omnia like, huh? Well, very religious nation they are. And it sounds like theirs is a religion of blood, or at least sometimes it is. And right now, as the, is it the 8th prophet? Right now, as they prepare for the imminent arrival of the 8th prophet, everybody's trying to be as holy as possible. But the wonderful thing about prophets is they don't always take the form you expect. So let's pick up where we left off. Because the thing to do when faced with a demon is to be resolute and repeat the 9 fundamental aphorisms. But is it really a demon? Is it really a demon who has encountered our friend Brother? Brother being a simple religious person of the Omnian nation. And interestingly enough, Lu Tse, that monk of history, do you remember them? They're here too. I wonder what role that they will play. Though they seem to be much like the Watcher, a mere observer of history. So perhaps we'll just get to learn their perspective a little bit as we go through. The thing to do was to be resolute. We are here on page 6 of Small Gods by Terry Pratchett. Welcome once again. As I said, if you're not here for this, you're not here for this. This is for myself first and foremost, but I did want to have the opportunity to share something fun with you. So, enjoy it, won't you? You might be surprised. Be resolute and repeat the 9 fundamental aphorisms. Well, I don't think Brother's even going to get to it, because once more the great god Om spake unto Brother, the chosen one. Are you deaf, boy? Brother's hoe thudded onto the baking soil. Brother spun around. There were the bees, the eagle, and at the far end of the garden, old Brother Lu Tse, hey, we were just talking about them, dreamily forking over the dung heap. The prayer mills whirled reassuringly along the walls. Brother made the sign with which the prophet Ishkabul had cast out spirits. Get thee behind me, demon, Brother muttered. I am behind you. Brother turned again, slowly. The garden was still empty. He fled. Remember this? This is about where we left off last time. Let's continue. Many stories start long before they begin, and Brother's story had its origins thousands of years before his birth. There are billions of gods in the world. They swarm as thick as herring roe. Most of them are too small to see and never get worshipped, at least by anything bigger than bacteria, who never say their prayers and don't demand much in the way of miracles. They are the small gods. The spirits of places where 2 ant trails cross, the gods of microclimates down between the grassroots. And most of them stay that way, because what they lack is belief. A handful, though, of these small gods go on to greater things. Anything may trigger it. A shepherd seeking a lost lamb finds it among the briars and takes a minute or 2 to build a small cairn of stones in general, thanks to whatever spirits might be around the place. Or a peculiarly shaped tree becomes associated with a cure for disease. Or someone carves a special... we just had someone special join us, is what I'd like to say. Hello and welcome. We're continuing right where we left off with small gods. If you were following along last time, you should know just where we are. Brother fled the voice of the great god Om. And now we are learning a little bit about what it means to be a small god exactly. Callie can tell you a whole lot about being a small god. A handful, though, of these small gods do go on to greater things. Anything may trigger it. A peculiarly shaped tree might become associated with a cure for disease. Maybe somebody carves a spiral, a special spiral, on an isolated stone. Because what gods need is belief. And what humans want is gods. Often it stops there, but sometimes it goes further. More rocks are added. More stones are raised. A temple is built on the site where the tree once stood. Thank you. The god grows in strength, the belief of its worshippers raising it upwards like 1,000 tons of rocket fuel. For a very few, the sky's the limit. And sometimes, not even that. Now, remember Brother Numrod? Numrod? There's an H in it. I don't know. I'm gonna say the H, okay? Numrod. Brother Nehumrod was wrestling with impure thoughts in the privacy of his severe cell when he heard the fervent voice from the novitiate's dormitory. Did I say that right? Novitiate. Novitiate. I guess, yes, those are the newbie priests, I suppose. Omnia, as we said, where Nehumrod and Brother and Lutze currently reside, is a very religious nation. And as we continue through this story, you'll learn more about that. And you might think, oh geez, we're reading a religious book? You're not really paying attention if that's what you think. So pay a little more attention, won't you? Brother Nehumrod was wrestling with impure thoughts in the privacy of his severe cell when he heard the fervent voice from the novitiate's dormitory. The brother boy was flat on his face in front of a statue of Om in his manifestation as a thunderbolt, shaking and gabbling fragments of prayer. There was something creepy about that boy, Brother, Nehumrod thought. It was the way he looked at you when you were talking, as if he was listening. He wandered out and prodded the prone youth with the end of his cane. Nehumrod said to Brother, "Get up, boy. What do you think you're doing in the dormitory in the middle of the day?" Brother managed to spin around while still flat on the floor and grasped the priest's ankles. Can we imagine that? Brother... Poor Brother, he's in shock right now. He was just spoken to by his own god, unexpectedly, and he's in disbelief. He doesn't know what to make of it. And now there he is on the floor, prone. Nehumrod comes over and is prodding at him, and he just spins around right on the floor. Poor little Brother. "Get up, boy." "Voice," exclaimed Brother. "A voice! It spoke to me!" he wailed. And we turn now to page 8. How are you doing today? Really glad to have you here. I hope you're enjoying this little experience. We won't be going for too long today, but that's the point. As you might know, this is a daily thing, and really it's important to keep it simple so you can follow along bit by bit each day. Alright. A voice, Brother had exclaimed, and Nehumrod breathed out. This was familiar ground. Voices were right up Nehumrod's cloister. He heard them all the time. "Get up, boy," he said, slightly more kindly. Brother got to his feet. He was, as Nehumrod had complained before, too old to be a proper novice. About 10 years too old. "Give me a boy up to the age of 7, Nehumrod had always said. But Brother was going to die a novice. When they made the rules, they'd never allowed for anything like Brother. I can relate to that. His big, red, honest face stared up at the novice master. "Sit down on your bed, Brother," said Nehumrod. Brother obeyed immediately. Brother did not know the meaning of the word disobedience. It was only one of a large number of words he didn't know the meaning of. Sounds like our Momo. Nimrod sat down beside him. Now, brother, he said, you know what happens to people who tell falsehoods, don't you? Brother nodded, blushing. Very well. Now tell me about these voices. Brother twisted the hem of his robe in his hands. Oh, he's nervous. It was more like one voice, master, he said. Like one voice, said Brother Nimrod. And what did this voice say? Brother hesitated. Now he came to think about it, the voice hadn't said anything very much. It had just spoken. It was, in any case, hard to talk to Brother Nimrod, who had a nervous habit of squinting at the speaker's lips and repeating the last few words they said practically as they said them. He also touched things all the time. Walls, furniture, people? As if he was afraid the universe would disappear if he didn't keep hold of it. You ever know somebody like that? Nervous touching habit, just kind of stares at people in a weird way when they're listening. Some people are just like that. And Brother Nimrod is one of them. On to page 9. And Brother continued thinking about Brother thought of Brother Nimrod, yes. Not confusing at all. Relatable, right? Nimrod had so many nervous tics that they had to queue up. Brother Nimrod was perfectly normal for someone who had survived in the Citadel for 50 years. In other words, well, when you live in a nation like Om, you end up a lot like Brother Nimrod. 50 years, wow. Well, Brother began, getting back to the conversation at hand. Brother Nimrod held up a skinny hand. Brother could see the pale blue veins in it. And I am sure you know that there are two kinds of voice that are heard by the spiritual, said the Master of Novices. One eyebrow began to twitch. Yes, Master. Brother Murdoch told us that, said Brother, meekly. Told us that. Yes, sometimes as he, in his infinite wisdom, sees fit, the god speaks to a chosen one, and he becomes a great prophet, said Nimrod. Now, I am sure you wouldn't presume to consider yourself one of them. No, Master. Master, but there are other voices, said Brother Nimrod, and now his voice had a slight tremolo. Is he getting excited? Oh dear. Beguiling and wheedling and persuasive voices, yes? Voices that are always waiting to catch us off our guard. Brother relaxed. This was more familiar ground. All the novices knew about those kinds of voices, except that usually they talked about fairly straightforward things, like the pleasures of nighttime manipulation and the general desirability of girls. As you might guess, in the nation of Om, and this is a little aside, in the nation of Om, it is, as far as I am aware, only the men who become priests, and so they are separated from all those lovely girls that they desire so very much. They're a bit traditional in this sense here in the nation of Om, in the desert just off the Klatchian coast with a K. So all the novices did know about those types of voices. Pleasures of nighttime manipulation, what's that about? The general desirability of girls, oh my. Which showed that they were novices when it came to voices. Brother Nimrod got the kind of voices that were, by comparison, a full oratorio. What a word, right? Oratorio. Some of the bolder novices liked to get Brother Nimrod talking on the subject of voices. He was an education, they said, especially when little bits of white spit appeared at the corners of his mouth. Oh dear. Oh dear. 50 years of living in a religious nation cut off from your body's own desires. Well, I guess you do end up a bit like Brother Nimrod. Brother listened. And we turn now to page 10, which is where I think we might leave it for today, but let's see where things go. Brother Nimrod was the novice master, but he wasn't the novice master. We're cutting ahead to a different... Well, you'll see. He was not the novice master, he was only master of the group that included Brother. There were others. Possibly someone in the Citadel knew how many there were. There was someone somewhere whose job it was to know everything. The Citadel, in the nation of Om, is a very religious place and a very organized place, shall we say. Everyone has their purpose, everything has its purpose, and if you don't do things the right way, then you shouldn't be doing it at all. Gotta stay holy, right? The Citadel occupied the whole of the heart of the city of Qom, in the lands between the deserts of Klatch and the plains and jungles of Hawundaland. It extends, yes, Hawundaland, can we say? The Discworld, thank you. The Discworld has some wonderfully named places, doesn't it? The desert nation of Klatch with a K. And then we have Hawundaland. It do. The Citadel, which occupied the entire heart of the city of Qom, in the lands between the deserts of Klatch and the plains and jungles of Hawundaland, extended for miles. Its temples, churches, schools, dormitories, gardens, and towers growing into and around one another in a way that suggested a million termites all trying to build their mounds at the same time. Welcome. Glad to have you again. We're reading about the nation of Om. In the city of Qom, you will find the Citadel we are describing right now, with its many temples, churches, schools, dormitories, and so on. When the sun rose, the reflection of the doors of the central temple blazed like fire. Oh, Oni has something to add. Really? I see. He's found his reflection. Speaking about reflected glows, Oni is not enjoying the reflected glow of the sun as we were just reading, but instead the reflected glow of his oh-so-beautiful cockatiel face. If you follow along with us here on YouTube, or even in the group chat on Reality, or certainly also on Blue Sky, you might have seen his lovely face before. Let's give him a moment. Oh, very impressive, Oni. You're a small god in the making. The sun's reflected glow shone down and across the tens of thousands. Now, wait a second, I got ahead of myself. We'll be there in a sec. When the sun rose... Okay, this is where we are, remember? Okay. When the sun rose, the reflection of the doors of the central temple blazed like fire. They were bronze and 100 feet tall. On them, in letters of gold set in lead, were the commandments. There were 512 of those commandments so far, and doubtless the next prophet would add his share. The sun's reflected glow shone down and across the tens of thousands of the strong in faith, who labored below for the greater glory of the great god Om. Probably no one did know how many of them there were. Some things have a way of going critical. Certainly there were only one Cenobiarch, the superior Yam. Is it Yam? Yam? Yam, I guess. I-A-M. Yam. Certainly there was only one Cenobiarch, the superior Yam. That was certain. And 6 archpriests. And 30 lesser Yams. Yam yam. And hundreds of bishops, deacons, subdeacons, and priests. And novices like rats in a grain store. And craftsmen, and bull breeders, and torturers, and vestigial virgins. The list goes on and on. No matter what your skills, there was a place for you in the Citadel. And if your skill lay in asking the wrong kinds of questions, and we move on now to page 11. And if your skill lay in asking the wrong kinds of questions, or losing the righteous kind of wars, the place might just be the furnaces of purity, or the Quisition's pits of justice. Oh, doesn't that sound nice? Aha, yeah, the furnaces of purity and the Quisition's pits of justice. I don't think I want to visit those places anytime soon. No, thank you. A place for everyone, and everyone in their place. And that's where we're going to leave it for today. What did you think? It's quite a world, isn't it? Now, I should tell you, not all the Discworld novels are like this. The great nation of Ohm, just on the Klatchian coast, is just one particular place that we are visiting in this story of Small Gods by Terry Pratchett. Yeah, Danky likes it. Not all the places that we're going to visit in the Discworld are so religious, and not all of them are so, shall we say, regimented. And yeah, there are many, many other characters we are eager to share with you, such as Esme the Witch, such as Rincewind the Wizard, and of course, the much beloved and very infamous Luggage. So look forward to that, won't you? Those aforementioned characters, Esme, Rincewind, and the Luggage, they won't be joining us in this story. But you can wonder about who they are and what they're like, because you'll get the chance to know, trust me. But for now, this story, Small Gods, is just a little story in this one little nation about this one little prophet-to-be, the chosen one of the great god Ohm. Please look forward to learning more about Brother's story, and we'll see what Lu Tse's involvement might be, and maybe we'll get to hear more about Brother Noomrod's interesting thoughts. I kind of hope not, to be honest. He kind of needs to self-assess, you know what I mean? Some people just need to take some time to look at themselves and ask themselves, do I make other people uncomfortable? And if I do, how can I stop doing that? Right? Oh my. I think Brother Noomrod is one such person. But that's okay. That's okay. That doesn't mean he's not deserving of the great god Ohm's love. Right? Thanks so much, speaking of love, for being here. Thank you for sharing your time, and especially for sharing some hearts with us on Reality. We'll do this again tomorrow. Today was day 2. Tomorrow will be day 3. And yesterday was day 1. So if you're just joining us for the first time, go back, watch the first one, and catch up. These videos will stay up indefinitely, so you can follow along not just with the story, but also with this transgender Violet Kitten's own, shall we say, personal vocal journey. So I'm glad to have you here on this journey with me. And I think we'll leave it there, as I said. Once again, where were we? Page, was it 11? Yes. A place for everyone in the nation of Ohm. and everyone in their place, even if that's the furnaces of purity, or the Quisition's pits of justice. Look forward to more, okay? See you soon. And with it being today, Saturday, we likely won't be streaming neither on Twitch nor on YouTube outside of these little things. We might do some nighttime gameplay streams or something of that nature. In fact, just last night, Momo collaborated with FF to do a gameplay stream of F-Zero. So check that out if you want. I actually think it was really fun to watch and follow along with. It was a very nice visual and audio experience, which included some of the very music that you're enjoying right now. That's all for today then. And thank you again. Daisuki. Dari. Nice. Very nice.